जो नुकसान होना था वो हो चुका है। अब आने वाले समय में हम अपने आप को कैसे पॉजिटिव रखें। योग जो सबसे पुराना, जिसको हम हमेशा कहते हैं इट्स एन एंशिएंट साइंस, इसमें छुपी हुई सभी साइंटिफिक बातें, सभी फिलोसॉफिकल बातें और सभी प्रैक्टिकल एस्पेक्ट्स, इनका जितना फायदा, जितने बेनिफिट्स हम लोगों को लेने चाहिए थे, कहीं ना कहीं वो पीछे छूट गए। अब इतने नुकसान के बाद हम सभी को समझ में आ रहा है कि योग में वो शक्ति है जिससे हम वापस इस नेगेटिविटी से लड़ सकते हैं। वी हैव टू फाइट बैक, इट विल हेल्प अस फॉर resilience, and we have to bring back all the happiness and health. So the topic of this webinar is, this course is rather, I would say, that we have to learn the tools and techniques to live happily in this negative and in this tough time. So for that, I would like to welcome our today's and for 3 days our guest, our eminent speaker, Acharya Brahmdev Mukunlal ji. आचार्य जी नमस्कार, आपका स्वागत
नमस्ते।
करते हैं और हमेशा ही आप अपना कीमती समय निकालकर हमारे साथ जुड़ते हैं, लोगों को ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा फिलॉसफी, ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा साइंस के बारे में बताना चाहते हैं। उसके लिए आपका धन्यवाद। जुड़ने वाले सभी लोगों को मैं आचार्य जी से अवगत कराना चाहूंगी। आचार्य मुकुंद Brahmdev Mukunlal ji. He has an inclusive educational background from science, banking, University of Mauritius, management, ABE UK, and Darshanacharya Vedic philosophy, Darshan Yog Mahavidyalaya, Gujarat, India, and a diverse career in financial services industry and at Arya Sabha, Mauritius. He has been a key resource person for Arya Sabha Mauritius on the universal Vedic values, yoga and meditation, interfaith and intercultural dialogue at various national and international forums. Mauritius Council of Religion, Arya Pratinidhi Sabha America, Greater Atlanta, Vedic Temple, Hindu Center of Atlanta Yoga and Meditation, Center in Quebec, Toronto, Arya Samaj and Arya Samaj Markham 2019, and currently connected to several organizations worldwide on Facebook, WhatsApp, YouTube, and Zoom. He is an author of numerous insightful articles on Vedic philosophy and contemporary issues in English and French, with daily sharing on social media. और जिसके लिए मैं भी सबको बताना चाहूंगी, आचार्य जी डेली जो लिखकर भेजते हैं, दैट इज सो एब्सोल्यूट कि उसके ऊपर भी पूरा एक ग्रंथ बन सकता है. So that's so amazing. That's so such a heartful efforts to teach everyone and to elaborate all the philosophies from ancient Vedas. So आज हम शुरू करते हैं अपने इस कोर्स को, जिसका कंटेंट हम सब ने पोस्टर में लिखा ही था. एंड नाउ आई वुड like to invite आचार्य जी, over to you आचार्य जी, so that आज का हम आरंभ करते हैं ये 3 दिन का कोर्स, जिसके जो टेक अवे होगा वो जरूर ही फ्रूटफुल होगा. और जुड़ने वाले सभी लोगों से मैं चाहूंगी कि आप अपने साथ और लोगों को जोड़ें, लोगों को बहुत इसके बेनिफिट्स ऑफ योग जो है कभी कभी नहीं समझ में या इतना डेप्थ नॉलेज नहीं है, तो सभी से रिक्वेस्ट करूंगी कि आप लोग भी हमारे इस मिशन में शामिल हों, जहां हम लोगों को योग से जोड़ें और योग की साइंस और फिलॉसफी ज्यादा से ज्यादा लोगों को सिंपल लैंग्वेज में हम लोग सभी मिलकर समझाएं. ओवर टू यू आचार्य.
Namaste everybody and welcome. In spite of the various time zones, one universal greeting is Namaste. Otherwise, some would be good morning, some would be good day, and some would be good night. So that's the starting point of the universality of our ancient culture. I'll start with one allegory. Let's see, imagine you are brought to an unknown place. आंखें में पट्टी डाल दिया गया, and you are left in the midst of a deep forest. आपके सामने दो विकल्प है. You have two choices. When the band is removed from your eyes, you see yourself in the forest. One is, hi, मुझे कहाँ पे छोड़ दिया गया? So you start on the negative footing. Then that starts deepening into you. You get depressed, and that worsens your situation. Second alternative would be, oh, it's such a luxurious place with all the greenery, fresh air. So you start exploring. And you start exploring, you find the beautiful fruits, flowers, fresh water from the springs and rivers. You say, okay, at least I can survive. Then you start harmonizing yourself with the environment. That's the positive attitude, and the first one with the negative. So you have the choice. The choice is yours and only yours to make. And if you are able to connect with a new environment to make the most of it, that is one form of yoga. Yoga, the root word from Sanskrit, is Yuj. And Yoga is from Yuj Samadho in Sanskrit, which means joining, linking, uniting, connecting. So I've given you the status of our mind with the example of the forest. Our mind is just like the forest. We have both the positive and the negative attitude. Which one do we connect to will be able either to make it or to break it. Again, bringing back to the current situation, the COVID pandemic and the lockdowns, there are things which went really bad for people and for the whole world. But the other thing is that see how many people are connecting worldwide through social media. That's an effective and efficient use of social media to spread the good things. Okay, I agree that there are so many negativities also there. Unfortunately, the web has become a university for both the positive and the negative learning. So it depends on how we connect. If we connect to the positive, that's one form of yoga. Then see the other reminder from nature. Lockdown, सभी को यही मैसेज था, stay at home, घर पे रहने के लिए. It teaches us the basics of human life. थोड़ा समय अपने लिए निकाल करके अपने अंदर में जाने के लिए प्रयास करो. Just go inside yourself. That was a clear reminder to people. और जिसने थोड़ा बहुत प्रयास किया, he's been more or less, I won't say 100% happy, but he's been more on the positive side, taken things very lightly, in spite of all the dangers that were there. He knew how to stay safe, how to stay well, and stay well on the holistic approach, Man, Vani, or Sharir. That is from the level of the mind, from the level of what we are speaking to people, spreading only good things, not the negativities, and whatever actions we're doing with our body were always to stay safe and make others stay safe. I'll take it another level of wellness, sound mind, body and spirit. जिसने अपने अंदर झांकने के लिए प्रयास किया, देखने के लिए प्रयास किया, he started doing some home exercises. And the best would have been, I would say, out of Hatha Yoga, the Surya Namaskar. Very synchronized process to link us, balance the body, the mind, our state of physical wellness, mental wellness, because the breathing that is synchronized with Surya Namaskar gives us increased oxygen levels, increased oxygen supply to the brain, and we'll be able to maintain a stable level of mental activities. And along with that, we have the spiritual connect, not the ritual connect, but the spiritual connect. And realize that we are human beings, not with the animalistic tendency of survival of the fittest. Because our survival depends also on the survival of everybody around us. So that was one way to connect with the new situation, adapt to it, and that is also one of the broad definitions of yoga. But yoga specifically in that context, I would refer to the Yoga Darshan by Maharishi Patanjali. That is no new knowledge which Maharishi Patanjali brought to us. Yoga is in the seed form in the Vedas. The source of this knowledge in the Vedas, and which is recognized to be the universally recognized to be the first foremost revelation to mankind of how to live life as a human being by E-RYT, God, to mankind. I'll just give you 3-4 examples. Rig Veda, chapter 5, subchapter 31, mantra 1 says, Yunjate manauta yunjate dhiyo. It goes long, I'm just give you an extract. Yajurved, chapter 11, first mantra says, Yunjana pratamam manastvaya. Then the 14th mantra of the same chapter says, Yoge yoge tavastaram. So the first mantra which I used the extract was Yunjate mana uta yunjate dhiyo. The word is man there, and dhiyo refers to the mind. It's about the software of the brain. And the second mantra also says Yunjana Prathamam Manastvaya. It's about man again. Then the third mantra which I used was Yoge Yoge Tavastaram. So the word yog is directly there. The first two was Yunjate, which is huge. This one is Yoge Yoge Tavastaram. And if you go into the meaning, the interpretation of that mantra, it says connecting the mind to the self, and the self is not the body, it's the soul within the body. And beyond that, Atma jo hai, soul, connected with Paramatma, the supreme soul, the supreme consciousness. And what is now the objective of yoga? In 4 words, दुखों से छूटना, सुख की प्राप्ति करना. दुखों से छूटना, liberate ourselves from pains and sufferings, sorrows, afflictions. Sukh ki prapti karna, and understand sukh not only by the physical level, but at the mental, moral, spiritual, and social level, the holistic approach of wellness. And this holistic approach of wellness, which is in our Vedic philosophy, in the Hindu culture, is also in the objectives when defining wellness in WHO, World Health Organization. So at times when we say things basically rooted or grounded firmly in our ancient heritage, people don't believe in that, but just try to link the various parts of the puzzle and we'll find it. So dukh se chhotana sukh ki prapti. And in the terms of the Yoga Darshan, it says, Hey Hetu Han Upaya. Know the causes of pains, suffering, sorrows, and you'll find the ways to relieve yourself from this. Most of you are familiar with the Gayatri Mantra where we say Om Bhur Bhuva Swaha Tat Savitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Naha Prachodayat. Bhu stands for God as the giver of life. Bhuva, reliever from pains and sorrows, and Swaha, the all blissful. And the prayer there is Dhyo Yo Naha Prachodayat, is O Ishwar, आप हमारे बुद्धि को श्रेष्ठ विचारों और श्रेष्ठ कर्मों में प्रेरित करें. प्रेरित करें, that is inspire. The job is ours. So that's a learning curve, lifelong learning curve for human beings. And let's look into the level of knowledge. All the other forms of life, बाकी प्राणी जो है, चाहे plants हो, चाहे animals हो, they are born with a knowledge sufficient for them to survive, programmed to do what they have to do. And they don't go beyond what was given to them. I'll just give you one example. The seed, when it germinates, the root knows it has to go underground, and the shoot, the stem knows it has to go above, and the leaves grow as the crown on the tree. छोटा सा पिल्ला है, the dog, the puppy, 1 year, just put it into water, it will swim and move out. और मनुष्य का जो बच्चा है, the human child, if you put it in water, if you don't teach how to swim, it just drowns. But the potential to acquire knowledge is so vast, which is not there in the other forms of life. हाँ, कुछ बंदर, कुछ हाथी या सर्कस के लिए कुछ ट्रेन कर सकते हैं, कुछ काम करने के लिए ट्रेन कर सकते हैं. That's one thing, but there's a limitation to that. But the human potential, and yoga is there to unfold that human potential. I'll just give you one example. जब हम योग करते हैं ना, physical yoga, not about the philosophy, but I'm just taking a sidetrack. Look at Surya Namaskar when you synchronize your breath with that. Just do it in harmony and no rush. You can probably take 1 minute doing each of the posture and retaining yourself for probably 5 seconds or 10 seconds in each posture. So that comes to about 2 minutes for Surya Namaskar, if you do 10 seconds. While holding the breath at that point in time, you're regulating your oxygen body, and oxygen nourishes the brain. And oxygen is the best nourishment for the brain, because when the brain don't get oxygen, it is said the brain is dead. And the more the brain gets oxygen through the breathing process, normal breathing process, regulated breathing process, the more we increase our potential. I always refer to the case of Einstein. The normal person, samanya buddhi wala admi, he uses about 8% of his brain. Medha buddhi, those who are slightly advanced, they go up to probably 10%. Or Ritambhara Pragya jiska hai, those who are on the path of yoga now increasing, they go up to 12%. And Einstein was about 12 to 15%. Just see the incremental. From 8 to 12, and if you grow on the path, it's a gradual growth. You'll grow to 15, you'll also become the genius. And remember now, if you use yoga to unfold that other 85%, which is dormant, what you'll become. And this is what the rishis were doing in their times. And we should understand the tools that were given to us by Ishwar God. Physical tools, the 5 senses, taste, smell, sight, hearing, touch. And the 5 organs for bodily actions, hands, feet, the mouth to speak, and the excretion organs, the reproductory organs. Beyond that, we have the 11th indriya, man. Call it buddhi, call it chit, call it, it's interchangeably used. There's slight difference, but Chinese all. Slight difference, it is, as we say, thin as paper. But it's invariably used in yoga, man, chit, buddhi, etc. And this is where the tool is to regulate our life, to understand things. And if we use that discriminating faculty of the mind, not to discriminate with others, but to discriminate between truth and untruth, dharma and adharma, so we'll be able to shoulder our responsibilities, our duties rightfully, and stay away from negligence. और इसके लिए क्या करना है? योगाभ्यास practice करना है. One is the bundle of physical exercises and breathing exercises from Hatha Yoga for excellent maintenance of bodily health, but that is not yoga in the proper definition. Because we've seen the world going on a trend with so many systems of yoga. And the worst of it is the variations that have been brought in Hatha Yoga, which leads us more on the opposite track. Maharishi Patanjali defines yoga in Yoga Sutra 102. Yogaschitta vritte nirodha. You have a pose under mental activities, which is also a flux, always varying, ups and downs, pains and sorrows, distress, joy, etc. If we have happened to put a halt to that, then we'll start using our mind on the positive footing. One example which we live daily in our life. When we sleep, the level of mental activities is very low. In fact, it's just silent except when we are in the dreaming stage. सुषुप्ति अवस्था में दिमाग तो काम नहीं करता है और स्वप्न अवस्था में थोड़ा बहुत काम करता है. And for that purpose, it's us, each and every single person, to start walking the baby steps on that. Because as we see in this world, nobody helps us if we don't take the first step, the first initiative. So in this spiritual world, in the spiritual realm, or the yoga world, it's the same story. The same story in the sense that God will help only those who put up 100% mental and physical efforts. Yogaschitta vritti nirodha. This is the definition of yoga. Silencing of the variations or the flux of mental and emotional activities. And for that, we have to stop connecting to the outside and connect to the inside. Yoga philosophy, as per Maharshi Patanjali, is the Ashtang Yoga, Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyan, Samadhi. And the purpose of yoga, from the Bhagavad Gita, it says, Ashantasya krita sukham. Bhagavad Gita 2.66. Where is happiness? The answer in this shlok itself is, when one is not peaceful, happiness is not there. Arthapati, by deduction, is that only when we are peaceful will be happy. Then Shlok 2.50 of the Bhagavad Gita says, Yoga karmasu kaushalam. Yoga karmasu kaushalam. Yoga is skillfulness in action. And remember, I told you action starts as thoughts, then goes into words, then physical actions. But the process is so fast, we've not learned to give a pause in life. That's why we are not able to seize the fact that action starts from the mind. And if we go into that, silence the activities of the mind, take moments of silence in our life, we'll be better persons, because whenever we have to react to a situation, we'll just put ourselves in silence, probably for 30 seconds or 1 minute, and then react. We'll find the best of alternatives. And in so doing, we are used to the outer makeup. Yoga tells us, drills us into ourselves for the inner makeup. And this is the first step of healing through knowledge, which yoga leads us into. Healing with knowledge. It's not blind faith or blind following. Relieves us from anxieties, from frustrations. When we learn to give ourselves moments of silence, we'll be able to use our mind to look at the real causes and the long-term relief of our whatever is there, pain, sorrows, afflictions, physical or mental ailments, will be able to thrive through. Because whenever we are in anxiety, in frustrations, or all these things, what happens is that instead of listening to the divine guide within us, we look for the outside, and most often our misunderstanding gets further complicated by the adulterated knowledge we receive. So wellness associated, the first step is physical level, sound body. Then the mind will be sound and the spirit would be sound. And remember, wellness on the physical level is also misunderstood. Deriving happiness from good food, from good sight, probably good seeing a good movie, things like that, or good smell, perfume, or flowers, fragrance, good hearing, music, good touch, feeling. These lasts only for the moment we are there. And yoga tells us if we indulge too much in that, we are not moderate, we'll start being unhappy. We'll look into that when we look into this, the sources of unhappiness. But we are really living life, not to please ourselves, but to please others. Dusre log kya kahenge? Are we really living our life? If we go into yoga, we start putting the questions when we are silent at the mental level. We start putting the questions. COVID was there to tell us, do we really need all the superficial things that we are used to, we are attached to? Or it brought us to the essentials of life where we were happy with a few things, but we had time for ourselves, we had time for our family, we had times for our friends. Though not meeting physically, but at least we could meet on the social media, on phone, etc. Then we were also reminded, stop the taken for granted attitude. And this is what yoga also tells us in yama and niyama, the first two steps of yoga. Stop the taken for granted attitude, because what happens is that in the taken for granted attitude, we always say that's not for me, it's for others. And when it hits us, then we learn the hard way. Like when the lockdowns were there, so many people were out on the streets thinking this was a hoax, or this is not for me, this is for the others. And when they were hit hard, then they realized that. Another concept which we have to clear is all the branches or systems of yoga we've been reading, listening to about. Unfortunately, the Bhagavad Gita itself has been dissected into Raj Yoga, Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Dhyan Yoga, etc., etc. And Hatha Yoga is worse. You find yoga for this thing, yoga for that thing, yoga for the nth number of things. If we look into the basis of it, all these yogas cannot survive as individual items. It's just like I have my body, I dislocate the feet, the hands, the mind, and everything, so I'm dead. It doesn't allow me to live. Just imagine, I'll take one other example. When Arjun was in a dire circumstances, usne hatiyar niche rakh diya, and he's seeking advice from Sri Krishna. Arjun was a real fighter. इसके fighting skills में कोई शंका नहीं थे. He had the knowledge that he had to win the war. He knew all the techniques to be able to emerge as a victor. But the sight of His cousins, the elders, the gurus in front of him brought his morale down. The Bhagavad Gita is Sri Krishna empowering Arjun with knowledge. And with a combination of knowledge, dhyan, combination of his actions, karma, and combination of his bhakti, his devotion to the cause of righteousness, makes him a victor. Only dhyan, the enemy would have killed him. Only karma without the real knowledge, strategy of how to overcome that grief of he knew the near and dear ones would be killed. The grief started overcoming him first. Without the dhyan, he would have died, because he would have been overridden by emotions. And if he was only dedicated to the cause of fighting for righteousness, but didn't know how to fight and didn't have the knowledge how to overcome the emotions, he would have died. So the outcome of the Mahabharata only on dhyan, only on karma, or only on bhakti would have been totally different. Unfortunately, what we are doing in this world, yoga says to unite, to join, to connect, and we are disconnecting the various parts. And one aspect which is exploited today is Kriya Yoga. Kriya Yoga in Yoga Darshan by Maharshi Patanjali, the highest authority in yoga, says Tapa Swadhyay Ishwar Pranidhan. Tapa means austerity, to develop resilience to face adverse situations. Then Swadhyay is study, acquisition of knowledge, and self-introspection also. To be able to catch the situation and see where we made the mistakes, not to repeat them. Where we did well, we can improve. Then Ishwar Pranidhan, surrender yourself to the knowledge Ishwar has given to us in terms of the Vedas, unfolded as Upanishads and other Shastras by the Rishis, and also respect the laws of nature, respect the hierarchy in nature. Our interference with the environment has given us climate change. Our interference with wildlife has given us, it gave us SARS-1 and so many of the diseases, and now we are living SARS-2, which is COVID. So what we need in terms of yoga philosophy is knowledge, Shuddha Dhyan, to be able to go into Shuddha Karma, true knowledge, to be truthful in our karma, and Shuddha Upasana, Shuddha Bhakti, to be really devoted, dedicated. And if we want to know what is devotion or dedication, let's move out of what we understand from rituals. We would look into the devotion, dedication of a child as a devoted child to the parents. What he does, simply following the instructions, the guidance of the parents. Many amongst us in this gathering of today are in the field of education. So we know a devoted student is not someone who does the arti of the teacher, but rather follows the guidance and instructions of the teachers. Likewise, why knowledge? Remember from the Ramayana, had Vibhishan not given the knowledge to Ram to strike Ravan at the navel, the fight would have lasted longer. And had Sri Krishna not given the knowledge, the strategic points to Arjun, And the last fight was between Bhim and Duryodhan. Even there, Krishna gave the signal to Duryodhan, hit him on the thigh. That was his most feeble point there. So yoga gives us that knowledge, that power to increase our faculties, the potential of our faculties. And let's now delve into the fluctuations of the mind. To understand that, to understand how the mind works on the control of the soul. Because when the soul is not there, the body is dead, the body don't function. Nor the brain, nor the mind, which is the software. Because if you unplug electricity from your computer, it doesn't work. And the soul is just like the electricity that you provide to your computer. It's like you, when you use your computer, which file you open, it's up to you to decide what to open, what to view, what not to view. So it's the soul which is the, as we say, the agent to give the instructions. But unfortunately, we take it, dil hai ki manta nahi. I'm just using one line to put you into the real picture. You have your car on the outside path. Does the car move by itself? No. It's up to us, even for those assisted driving cars, or the, as we say, if you look at Tesla, you just have to program it and it goes the way. But till you don't program it, it doesn't move. It's the same thing with this body. It's the soul who has total control over the mind. So yoga tells us to link the soul, the mind, and all the other body functions. There, if you look at the picture which we see commonly with Sri Krishna and the chariot driving Arjun, there's a shlok with that, Atmanam Rathinam Vriddhi Pragraha Mevato. Then it says, the owner of the chariot decides where to go. Arjun tells Sri Krishna to go, okay, I'm ready for the fight, now let's go for the fight. And Sri Krishna leads him to destination. So the order is given by whom? By the owner. And this is where yoga brings us to realize that we should be in total control. Unfortunately, we push the dirt in the name of Kali Yuga, the dark age. But do we realize we are the makers of our own destiny? We can make our life a heaven, or we can make a hell out of our lives. And this is, I always refer to the beauty of that scene which many of you may be having on your walls. Sri Krishna as the charioteer of Arjun. And if you want to understand the third part of Kriya Yoga, Ishwar Pranidhan, Arjun surrendered to the knowledge that was given to Sri Krishna, and Sri Krishna becomes his charioteer. And that's now the victory is his. And look at the choice he made when both him and Duryodhan went to Sri Krishna. He chose Sri Krishna as the guide, not the army. So that's the discriminating faculty of the mind. And yoga philosophy brings us to the three eternals in this world. Ishwar, Jeev, and Prakriti. Ishwar, God, as one entity. Jeev, the soul's Atma, as another entity. And matter as the third entity. None of them mixes with each other. The God omnipresent and everywhere at all times, so everything is in it, but God doesn't mix up with whatever we do. Then second thing is Jeev, soul. We are the deciders. Then Prakriti, matter. which is there. And look, when we feed ourselves, we feed this body. We feed, when we go on Hatha Yoga, we feed the mind also with oxygen, etc. But we don't feed the soul. The soul just take the imprints of the karma, and this is what will decide the next life. So the more we are able to connect with those elements, eternal elements of the universe, then we'll understand the real use of Prakriti. It's good to use it to sustain life, but to that extent, and it brings us to moderation. Understands the concept of Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas. Sattva, the more we are sattvic in our life, the more we'll have the luster and the aura around us. It leads us to enlightenment. The more we are rajasic, we'll be more on activity and restlessness. And the more we are tamasic, we'll be on dullness and sleep. And the mind also functions like that. The more our mind is sattvic, the more we'll be able to understand, to comprehend, and come with really brilliant solutions. The more we are rajasic, we'll become more restless, and that starts the turmoil. And the more we are tamasic, we'll be dull, we won't find the way out of our solutions, of our problems. All three are important because nothing in this world exists 100% sattvic, 100% rajasic, 100% tamasic. Sattvic enables us to keep our balance. If we look at Hatha Yoga, if we don't have the level of activity, a sufficient level of rajas within us, we won't be able to maintain this body. And if we don't have a certain level of tamas, we won't be able to get good sleep. All three are important, but which one will preside in our life, it's our own decision. It brings us to the other shlok of the Yog Darshan, which says, Tada drashtu swarupe avasthanam. When we understand those broad concepts which I brought to you, we'll understand that we as the seeker, if we go on the path of yoga, yoga, chitta, vritti, nirodha, silence, the activities of the mind, we'll be able to realize our true self. We'll stop the muddling state where we confound ourselves as the body. If we were only this body, why should we die? What is that element which leaves the body, and body जो है जैसे कहते हैं ना ढेर हो जाता है. We should understand that. That leads us to the need for regular practice of yoga. Regular practice of yoga, I will just give you a few models. Pranayam, correct breathing. We'll deal with that when we go into the 8 limbs of yoga, but regulated breathing, breath control is an important path to silence the mind. That's why it's one of the 8 limbs of yoga. Asana is another part, but not the asana that we do in yoga, in Hatha Yoga, but it means sthira sukham asanam, sit down in one place. Probably this is what also COVID taught us, to sit down in one place for a long time. But then we say we can't, we don't have the focus. The question is, when we are watching a movie, our focus is totally in the movie. Our mind doesn't wander. उस समय भूख प्यास वगैरह कुछ नहीं लगता है. We don't feel hungry, we don't feel the things. Why? So we can also sit down and drill into ourselves, look for the inner peace within ourselves. Look for the inner peace, P-E-A-C-E. If we don't do that, we'll lead a life in peace, P-I-E-C-E. And the life would be just, जैसे हम कहते हैं ना, बिखर जाएगा, टुकड़ों में, that's a life in pieces. So the option is for us to live a life in peace or a life in pieces. Then it says, Tada drashtu swarupe avasthanam. Let's realize our true self. And realizing the true self will be realizing that we are the commander-in-chief of our destiny. Otherwise, what will happen? The next sutra says, vritti sarupyam itaratra. If we don't get on the path of yoga, we'll confound everything and muddle everything. That will be the mix-up of all the situations. Because at other times, whatever we are thinking about, we think this is us. When we are depressed, we think that we are a depressed person. When we are happy, we think that we are a happy person. No, these are the alternate cycles of our mind, of our feelings, of our emotions running just in front of us, like the movie on the screen. So which part we stick to and we associate to, this is where we say, no, this is us. So let's go beyond that. And when we go beyond that, we'll understand vrittaya panchataya klishta aklishta. The mental fluctuations that we have are of 5 types. And these can be beneficial to us or can be detrimental to us. When it says klishta, it's detrimental. Aklishta means beneficial. The same 5 things. And Maharishi Patanjali explains that. When it says vrittaya panchataya klishta aklishta, so what are those 5 things? The 5 things which Maharishi Patanjali lists before us. It says praman viparyay vikalp nidra smriti. Praman viparyay vikalp nidra smriti. Praman is what we have perceived earlier. Our knowledge, our perceptions which we have had, and we know these are that, and we let that influence our living. So if we let it influence our living for the good, that is aklishta, and if we let it go into the drains, that is klishta. Viparyay, that is praman. Also, we need to know the standards of proof, which we'll look into that tomorrow. We have the tests of truth like Anuman Pratyaksh Praman, direct cognizance, Anuman Praman, inference, Agam Praman, which is testimony. So these are the tools for us to lead to truth. Viparya is the contradictory situations where we see. Like when we see a rope, we mistake that for snake, and when really a snake is there, if we mistake that for a rope, just imagine what happens. That is one way of it. Then vikalp, when we are in a fix, and if we don't step out of the box to look at the problem, we won't be able to find the solution because we are immersed totally in that problem. Modern management leads us thinking out the box. Then nidra, sleep. And if we are sleeping at the wrong time, at the wrong place, we are going to disturb our life. And if it's regulated sleep at the right time, right moments, that helps us to live a balanced life. आजकल तो उल्लू की तरह हम जीते हैं ना, रात्रि को हम जागते हैं और दिन को सोते हैं. That is not the human form. Okay, for people who are working on shift, that's another circumstance. But let's put some discipline in life. Then smriti. Don't let previous memories affect us. In fact, history is there for us to learn to do better and to avoid the pitfalls of what were there. Smriti bhi वैसे ही है. It has history. So let whatever we have as memory be useful to us to delve into and look for the right situations. That was a bit an overview. Tomorrow we'll look into further details. I'll be leaving you early today. I won't be able to attend the whole session. I'll just briefly look into 3-4 questions if you have any. And I apologize for today. I'll be there for full session tomorrow and the day after with you.
जी आचार्य जी, दोज हु आर न्यू टू अस, जो पहली बार हमारे साथ जुड़े हैं, मैं आप लोगों को बता दूं, आचार्य जी हमारे साथ जब भी रहते हैं पूरे समय, चाहे वो 3 घंटे का हमारा कोर्स हो, सेशन हो, वेबिनार हो, हमेशा पूरा समय रहते हैं. आज आचार्य श्री जी की कहीं और भी कमिटमेंट है, क्योंकि वो हिंदू सेंटर अटलांटा से भी जुड़े हुए हैं, मॉरिशस से भी, और आपने इंट्रो में सुन ही लिया होगा, ही इज एसोसिएटेड विद सो मेनी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन इन वेरियस कंट्रीज. सो धन्यवाद आचार्य जी. मैं देयर आर फ्यू क्वेश्चंस, सो मैं उनको एक कंपाइलेशन करके आपसे I'll go for the question, that is, how do we reconcile worldly life with life on the path of yoga? That's a one question.
Yes. So the first question is, why our hesitancy on yoga? And how do we reconcile that? Often when we tend to go on the path of yoga, we are being pulled aside कि हमें ये दुनिया छोड़नी है या नहीं. Yoga tells us, no, we have to live in this world. इसमें शरीर को जीर्ण नहीं करना है. When we are talking about tapa, swadhyaya, ishwar pranidhan, tapa is about living an austere life, that is a moderation life, not to go in indulgence. And often the problem of this world of today is we fail to teach the values to our children because kahin ye sadhu ban gaya. We have that fear, that attachment, that bondage. And yoga will lead us on the path of the yama niyama, will lead us to regulate our life, to tell us ye sharir ko galana sarana nahi hai, because this is the madhyam, the tool for us to go up to moksha, mukti, the final goal of yoga, to be in the eternal bliss of Ishwar, jahan par lesh matra dukh bhi nahi hai, where there's not the single trace of dukh. So if we regulate our life on the basis of yama niyama, we live in harmony with ourselves. We live in harmony with the environment. We live in harmony with all the other species of life. As said in the Veda, mitrasya chakshusha samiksha mahe. The yogi sees every living thing and non-living thing on this planet as his friend. He won't go on polluting the environment. He won't go to disturb wildlife. He won't go even to cause the least suffering to others. So that is one way of harmonizing our life. And when we harmonize ourselves on each and every of these levels, we'll drill more and more into our potential to be peaceful with ourselves, Else, if we go in the trend that the world is flowing, the flow of this current world, we'll be living a life in pieces. So yoga brings us to be in equilibrium with worldly life as well as spiritual life, as with spirituality as spiritual reality in life, where we value each and every of the values, living values that have been given to us in this ancient Vedic heritage. Next, if any.
Gee, yeah, there is one more question. How do we connect yoga with present day health issues? And one more attendee is asking that we are working in a night shift and as well our mothers are overworked. So क्या वो कभी भी क्या healthy नहीं रह पाएंगी?
Look, first thing is, as we say, if you want to do simple yogic exercises, I would say stick to the basics of Surya Namaskar, the 12 postures. Don't put the variations. The variations are not proven. Variations का लंबा असर क्या पड़ेगा हमारे शरीर पर, I don't know. But the 12 postures, basics as per Hatha Yoga, are very synchronized. And each and every movement forward gives the equivalent opposite movement backwards. And the breathing synchronized with that helps us to stabilize and to connect better. And when we unfold more and more oxygen to the mind, to the brain, that when the brain is supplied with more and more oxygen, that brings us to better manage our mental status. And stress is the most crumbling factor in our life. So if we get into that, manage our mental activities through the simple and most efficient Surya Namaskar, it will lead us to that management. And after that, I would also advise, as Maharshi Patanjali says, tad japas tadartha bhavanam. It says first, tasya vachaka pranava, do Om jap. And if you do Om jap, just for anybody doing jap, just compare with what you are doing and with Om jap. When you say Om, usually the O goes 3 times longer than the M. And when you write it in Hindi, in Akshar form, it's A, O, and then number 3, teen in between, and then Adhama. So it's Om. So if we are used to do that chanting, there's no other word that can bring us more soothing and silencing mood in whatever chanting that we practice. This is why it is called the universal sound. Irrespective of color, creed, race, or what we believe or what we don't believe. This is the universal sound. Take this. Tasya vachaka pranava. And if you are using any other mantras, Maharshi Patanjali says, tad japas tadartha bhavanam. Know the meaning of that mantra. When you are chanting that, get the meaning running into your mind. And when that meaning runs into your mind along with your chanting, your mind doesn't go astray. When your mind doesn't go astray, you better manage your stress levels. And the best of it is to start with the Om jap. Next, please. If
जी
any.
जी आचार्य जी, वैसे 2-3 मोर क्वेश्चंस हैं लेकिन वो हम लोग कल करेंगे. और लास्ट एक क्वेश्चन है फ्रॉम सम अटेंडी दैट योग इज नॉट belongs to only individual or individual practice. It should be prevalent or practiced for the by the whole society. So what is your suggestion for that?
It's really universal. If you will look into Maharshi Patanjali Yog Darshan or even in Hatha Yoga, it's not limited that I should be a Hindu only to do yoga. It's a
Exactly.
universal knowledge. Even the Vedas, which forms the basis of Hinduism, it says there, we know the principle of Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam, the world as one family. But the aim of it is Krinvanto Vishwam, make the whole world noble in thoughts, words, and actions. So yoga derived from the Vedas cannot be otherwise confined to a particular group of persons or to individuals. Yeah, practicing yoga individually is very important. On and off, getting into groups to practice that brings us to synergy and brings us also to share experiences with others. That's why on and off, for those who've been practicing, who've been learning, now they are on their own, that's fine. But once in a while, get into a group and practice as a group also is important. Because we can share experiences, we can learn from others, and we can teach others. But please and please, when we meet in groups, let's keep into focus what we have to do as yoga. One last word. There are free items which I'll be covering from the topic of today also tomorrow. It's the need for regular long-time practice, the behavioral attitudes, and the practice of detachment. Just to tell you, be regular on this session. As Yoga tells us, Sato Derkale Nairantara Satkara Sivito Bhumi, you need regular, consistent practice over a long time and with lots of love and passion, dedication to realize Great Bhumi, firm footing. So please be with us tomorrow and the day after. I apologize again. I'll take leave from you. Wish you all well and a happy journey on these 3-day sessions.
जी आचार्य
Namaste,
जी,
everybody. Thank you.
नमस्ते नमस्ते। धन्यवाद आचार्य जी। एक क्वेश्चन और था, योग और योगासना में क्या अंतर है, लेकिन हम ये कर लेंगे। आई नो यू हैव द कमिटमेंट फॉर द अदर स्पीच ऑल्सो। So attendees, any question which is you want to ask, we will go ahead with tomorrow. आचार्य जी हमारे साथ तीनों दिन हैं और हम आप लोगों के क्वेश्चंस लेते रहेंगे। धन्यवाद आचार्य जी,
Okay,
आपका
thank you.
इतना समय हमारे को देने के लिए धन्यवाद। मैं सभी लोगों से कहना चाहूंगी, द डिमांड इज दैट यू ऑल प्रेजेंटेबल फॉर्मल क्लोथिंग में आप लोग अटेंड करें सेशन, सो दैट आप लोग अपने वीडियोस ऑन करके अपने फोटोग्राफ्स भी क्लिक कर सकते हैं और ज़्यादा थोड़ा सा कनेक्टिविटी रहती है स्पीकर को व्हेन दे कैन सी पीपल। सो दिस इज माय हम्बल रिक्वेस्ट, काइंडली बी इन प्रेजेंटेबल फॉर्मल अटायर। अब हम चलते हैं अपने सेकेंड सेशन की ओर। नाउ आई वुड लाइक टू वेलकम आवर नेक्स्ट एक्सपर्ट, मिस नीतू शर्मा। नीतू जी, she has a degree in science. She is MCA, started practicing yoga around 12 years back because of her own health issues. So the journey has started just because she wanted to improve her health. She has taught yoga in various schools, and she has learned yoga from various schools like Hatha Yoga, Iyengar Ashtanga Yoga, and she has been teaching it for past 8 years. She did 200 hours of teaching training, and she has completed her YTTC 500 hours from Yoga Alliance USA, and now she is one of the senior faculty with Asht Yoga. She is also running her own brand, Nutri Yoga. She's also writing a book on Nutri Yoga. So nutrition and yoga goes hand in hand. Health and nutrition depend upon each other. So that is the phenomena, and that is the vision of Ms. Neetu Sharma. I would like to invite Neetu ji for her session. So over to you, Neetu. Thank you.
Namaskar and good morning, everyone. I hope I'm audible
So,
and clearly. Yeah.
नीतू यू आर ऑडिबल। क्योंकि नीतू जी प्रैक्टिकल डेमोन्स्ट्रेट करेंगी, अगर कोई साथ में करना चाहे तो वीडियो ऑन कर सकता है। और दोनों ही दिन उनके आगे भी सेशंस रहेंगे, सो बी रेडी फॉर दैट।
So, like Acharya ji's mentioned that to get fully into yoga, we have to first focus up, put the focus on our body, because body is something which is going to take us further towards moksha. So this is we cannot ignore our body. We cannot live with all the health issues, or we cannot just uh, degrade our body. So for that, let's start some basic sukshma vyayam, the basic exercises which will help you open your joints, and then we will practice some Surya Namaskar. So bring your hands in the front, make a fist, and start rotating your wrist. And these joint movements are very basic. They can be done at all age groups. There is no age bar by anyone, whatever problems, health problems you have, there is no restriction in doing these basic
थैंक यू रेणु
movements.
राठौर जी, रेणु जी, रुचित दास जी, मृदुला मैम शुरू से ही हमारे साथ वीडियो ऑन करके जुड़ी हुई है। राहुल आर्या, ही इज अ वेरी he is a yoga practitioner, very young chap. And Nilima ji, she is a principal. Thank you for joining us. And अंजू जी हमारे साथ हैं, सोनिया मल्होत्रा जी हमारे साथ हैं, प्रोफेसर बंसल जी हमारे साथ हैं। Anybody who is feeling appropriate, they can open your videos and they can practice with us.
Open your fingers, spread them, then you make a fist. 5 to 6 times we do this. The blood reaches your fingernails right from your body to your last point of the fingernails. Then bring this hand on your shoulders and we do the shoulder rotation. Today, most of the time, people are sitting at home working on the laptops. So all the weight comes on your shoulders and your spine. So open them up. In between, when you're working also, you can take a break for 5 minutes and do these exercises. Opposite. Start moving your elbows in opposite direction. Release. Then you spread your hands on the side in line with your shoulders and move your hands in one direction. एक तरफ घुमाएंगे, फिर उसके बाद दूसरी तरफ. धीरे से हाथों को यहीं पे नीचे रख लें, बॉडी से थोड़ा सा दूर. रेज योर राइट हैंड अप एंड बेंड टू द लेफ्ट साइड. जितना भी आप कंफर्टेबली बेंड कर सकते हैं. कम बैक, पुट द हैंड डाउन, रेज योर लेफ्ट हैंड and then you start bending towards the right side. Slight lateral stretches you will feel. Come back in the center. Now we will do some leg exercises. Spread your legs forward and bring one heel. Am I audible? Like, can anyone
Yes,
hear me?
yes, yeah.
Okay. And then slowly
Have you,
hold your knee, lift it up,
Neetu ji, have you
bring
heard
it
the
closer to your
question?
chest and push it down.
Can you hear the question, Neetu ji? ओके, नीलिमा जी शायद वो सुन नहीं पा रही हैं, लेकिन आप कोई भी पिलो
Slowly
लेकर
release.
उस पे उसको
Now
सपोर्ट
bring
दे
the
सकते
soles
हैं
of your
आप।
feet together for
और
full
पहले दिन
butterfly
कोई भी
pose.
ऐसी कोशिश ना करे, क्योंकि योग
And
इज अ
even if you
जर्नी,
can
you have to just
move
start.
inch up and down, that's good. Just start to opening up your hip joints as much as you can. You can keep your feet closer to the body or a little away from the body so that you can move your knees easily. And then relax. Cross your legs, whichever is the comfortable position, Padmasan, or if you can't do the full lotus pose, do the half lotus pose, or in simple cross leg Sukhasana. We'll do Om chanting 3 times. Gyan Mudra, the thumb and the first finger are together and the other 3 fingers are pointing downwards. Keep your spine straight. And like Acharya ji said, the O has to be longer. We have to practice Om in the ratio of 3:1. Take a deep breath. Om. Keep your eyes closed and bring the focus on your breathing. Look inwards. For the next 20 to 30 minutes, we are going to focus on ourselves, focus on our body, and on our breath. This is the time which you have taken out for yourself. So give it to yourself. Join your hands, rub your hands, and spread this energy all over your body. We will start with Surya Namaskar. Those who've been practicing can join me, and those who want to see for first few rounds, they can watch and then they can join. I will first share some information about the Surya Namaskar. Ma'am, I'm not able to open the screen share. Is there some rights issue?
I think you have to make a post. Just a minute. आप देखो प्रेजेंट नाउ पे जाकर प्रेजेंट नाउ आपने प्रेस किया.
Okay, so today I'll just demonstrate verbally only. Everybody please stand up. Those who are practicing, rest can watch. Come on the front of your mat. Join your hands. Om Suryaya Namah. Inhale. Bring your hands up and back. Exhale, Padhastasana, bend forward and try to bring your hands closer to your feet. If you can't, it's okay. You can put your hands on your knees, on your ankles, whichever point you can reach up to. Then take your right leg back, Ashwa Sanchalan, put the back knee down and try to lift up. Exhale, go back in Parvatasana, mountain pose. Inhale, plank position. Exhale, knees down, chest down. Ashtanga Namaskar. Inhale, lift up, Bhujangasana. Exhale, Arvat. Inhale, lift the right leg up and bring it in front of you, in between your hands. Even if you are not able to bring it in one go, if it is here, just lift up. Lift it with your hand and bring it in between your hands. Then the left leg forward, forward bend. Try to bring your hands closer to the mat. Inhale, come up. Raise your hands and go back a little. And Pranam Mudra. This was from the right side. Now we practice from the left side. Inhale, up, back, forward bend, Padhastasana. Practice very slowly with the breath. Inhale, take your left leg back, knee down. Exhale, right leg back, mountain pose. Inhale, plank position. Exhale, knees down, chest down. Keep your elbows closer to your body. Inhale, lift up, Bhujangasana, Cobra pose. Exhale, mountain pose. Inhale, left leg up, bring it in between your palms. Even if in one go you cannot, lift your foot with your hand and bring it forward. Then the right also comes forward, forward bend. Inhale up, back, and Pranam Mudra. Samasthiti, take few breaths here. Surya Namaskar revitalizes your entire body by bringing lot of solar energy into your body. And as we all know, solar energy is what? Prana. And we
We can't
all
see
need
you.
prana to live, prana to improve our body health. So this solar energy revitalizes our entire body, each and every cell. It also activates the Pingla Nadi, which ends into our right nostril. That again introduces heat in our body, removes the laziness. Ma'am, I can't hear you.
मैम आपका वीडियो शो नहीं हो रहा
I'm
पूरा.
just rejoining. There's some issue. I'm just
नीतू
आपका
मुझे
rejoining.
वीडियो
साफ दिखाई दे रहा है, लेकिन आपको शायद हमारी आवाज नहीं सुनाई दे रही क्या?
Voice is clear, ma'am. Your voice is clear.
ओके, कुसुम, यहाँ पर कोई डिस्टरबेंस नहीं है, ठीक है? नीतू, आप म्यूट पर हो.
Sorry. Now let's practice the second round. Inhale, up, hands up, bend back a little. Uttanasana, then forward bend, Adhastasana. Bring your hands closer to your feet. Here, you have to check the body weight. It should be on your entire foot, your toes as well as on your heels. You should not be leaning back only. Then you take your right leg back, put the knee down, the back knee down. Ashwasanchalan. Then you put your palms back, take your left leg also back, toes inward, and keep pushing your body back in mountain pose. This pose activates your spine. अगर मॉर्निंग में उठ के आप ये भी कुछ पोजेस कर लेंगे, that will also activate your spine to give you energy for the whole day. Then come into plank position. Exhale, put your knees down and slowly put your chest down. Keep your elbows closer to your body. Inhale, lift up in Bhujangasana. Exhale, again mountain pose. We started with the right leg, we have to end with the right leg. So lift your right leg up and bring it forward. Ashwasanchalan. Palms down, bring your left leg also forward. Try to bring your palms closer to your mat. Even if you can't, you bend your elbows, keep the hands on your ankles and try to bring your body closer to your knees. Whichever way it is convenient, we don't have to torture our body. Inhale, lift up, back, and Pranam Mudra. Left side, same thing, inhale up, back, slowly, while exhaling, bend forward. Inhale, take the left leg back, knee down. Exhale, the right leg back, mountain pose. Push your body back. Use the weight of your palms. Force from your palms to push your body back. Inhale, plank position. Exhale, knees down, chest down. Inhale, Bhujanga. Exhale, Parvata. We started with left leg. I have to go back with the left up. Bring it forward. Now the right also forward. Check the weight of the body. It has to be on your entire foot. Inhale, lift up, back, and Pranam Mudra. Samasthiti. Hands closer to your body, palms facing up, and bring your breathing back to the normal. Surya Namaskar is not to be practiced by those who have any cardiovascular issues or the nervous issues, nervous disorders, or a recent stroke, or any history of hernia, ulcers. Feel the effect of this on your entire body. Your breathing rate has really come down. It has become very slow. It has become deeper. Now we'll practice some pranayam. You all can sit down. Those who cannot sit on the floor cross-legged, they can sit on a chair also. Pranayam can be practiced easily while on a chair. First, we will start with Kapalbhati pranayam. This is a cleansing pranayam. You are throwing out all the toxins from your body through your breath. You are exhaling out through your nostrils, you are not inhaling. You don't have to focus on the inhale. You have to focus all the time on the exhale. And to feel it, you put one hand, the left hand on your chest and the right hand on your tummy. Take a deep breath. We'll practice only 10 strokes initially and then we'll increase. Inhale. Using your nostrils throughout. Every time you are throwing out only. You don't inhale. Inhale will happen automatically. And when you are throwing out, you can feel your stomach going in. But you don't apply any force on the stomach. Entire force is on throwing out only. The abdomen going in and inhale will happen automatically. That's a reaction, opposite reaction of this. So keep throwing out only. And relax. Anyone with heart issues or high BP issues should not practice Kapalbhati. Second round, you can keep the hands here or you can simply keep your hands on the knees, palms facing down. One more round of 10. Throw out using your exhale. And relax. आपको उतना ही फोर्स अप्लाई करना है जिसमें आपकी बाकी बॉडी शेक नहीं करेगी. So only use that much force which allows you to exhale, not to move your entire body. So if your body is shaking, any other parts are moving, your shoulders, we don't have to give the jerk, bring the jerk to our shoulders or our body parts. If that is happening, reduce the force of throwing out. One more round. Deep inhale. And relax. काफी लोग पहली बार कर रहे होंगे, so that's why we are not doing more rounds. Your body has to become used to this practice. तो initially चाहे कम करें लेकिन ठीक से करें so that you avail the benefit. जरूरी नहीं है कि आप पहले दिन ही 100-150 कपालभाति करें because that's what you're watching on the TV. It's not required. Start with less strokes so that you can continue for long. So Kapalbhati is a cleansing pranayam using which you are throwing all the toxins out from your body. Now we will do some energizing pranayams. First is Anulom Vilom Pranayam. Anulom Vilom Pranayam balances your Ida and Pingla, the hot side and the cooling side of your body. This can be practiced by anyone at any age and any of the health issues. Like even if you have heart problem, even if you have high BP, you can practice. There are no side effects of Anulom Vilom Pranayam. So this is a very basic and very helpful pranayam. It can be done at any age, with any conditions. Even if those who are not able to sit for long, they can lie down and practice Anulom Vilom Pranayam. It is that helpful. So let's start. Bend your first two fingers. Bring them to the base of your thumb. The other two fingers are straight. And remember, you always have to practice Anulom Vilom with right hand. Don't change your hand. So bring your thumb to your right nostril and the ring finger on your left nostril. And we are not going to push the nostrils very hard. It will damage the delicate nerves inside. Just put them slightly, just touching them. The right nostril is the thumb is there. Lift the finger from the left nostril and start inhaling as much as you can. You don't have to apply any force to inhale more. Put the finger back, remove the thumb, and exhale from the right side. Again, inhale from the right side. Put the thumb back, remove the finger, lift the finger, and exhale from the left side. This completes one round. Keep practicing. Inhale from the left side, from the left nostril by lifting the finger. Once you have inhaled completely, put the finger back, lift the thumb, exhale from the right side. After full exhale, start inhaling from the right side. Put the thumb back, lift the finger, and start exhaling from the left side. One more round. Inhale from the left, exhale from right, inhale from left, inhale from right, exhale from left. Relax, bring your hands down in Gyan Mudra. Keep your eyes closed, keep your spine straight. Keep the focus on your breath. Feel the synchronization of breath now. With your mind has become calmer. Your breath has become deeper. Let's practice 2 more rounds of this Anulom Vilom again. Make the mudra with your right hand. Thumb on your right nostril, finger on your left nostril. Lift the finger, inhale deeply from left. Put the finger back, exhale deeply from right. Inhale from right. Put the thumb back, exhale from left. Three more rounds like this, everybody will practice. Remember, don't apply any force while breathing. It will not help. हम सोचते हैं कि बहुत ज्यादा जोर के सांस खींचेंगे तो शायद ज्यादा आएगा. नो. जितना स्लो, जितना धीरे करेंगे, जैसे आप बलून फुलाते हैं, धीरे धीरे उसमें हवा भरते हैं, धीरे धीरे वो एक्सपैंड करता है. सेम इज विद योर लंग्स. जितना धीरे धीरे श्वास भरेंगे, उतना धीरे धीरे आपके लंग्स एक्सपैंड करते जाएंगे. And with practice, the length will become longer. You cannot do it in one day. Keep your eyes closed. Keep your focus on your breathing. Also, you don't have to apply pressure using your thumb and the finger. बहुत हल्के हाथ से रखेंगे आप नाक पर. और चेहरे पर मुस्कान बनी हो हमेशा, कभी भी चेहरे पे खिंची हुई लाइंस नहीं हो, बिकॉज योग इज फॉर हैप्पीनेस ओनली। तो एक स्माइल के साथ हमेशा प्राणायाम या योग के आसन करें। पूरा ध्यान आपकी सांसों पे रखें। जब आपके 3 राउंड हो जाएं तो आप आंखें बंद रखेंगे, हाथों को नीचे रख लीजिए ऑन योर नीज एंड कीप योर आईज क्लोज्ड। कीप योर बॉडी स्टिल, शरीर को हिलाएं डुलाएं नहीं। Last, we practice Brahmari pranayam. Nowadays, everybody is talking about Brahmari pranayam because of the nitric oxide which brings into the body. तो उसके लिए आप अंगूठों से अपने कानों को बंद करेंगे बाहर से, इस तरह से बाहर से बंद करेंगे। उंगलियां आप आगे रख सकते हैं सर के ऊपर, wherever your hand reaches. उंगलियों का कोई रोल नहीं है, we are just keeping them lightly on the face. Main role is of your thumbs. You have to close your ears अच्छे से and inhale from your nostrils and exhale also from your nostrils while making a humming sound. गले से आपकी गुंजन, जैसे भंवरे की गुंजन होती है, इस तरह से डीप साउंड करने की कोशिश करें. This creates lot of vibrations in the body which starts from your toes right up to your head. So 5 times we'll practice. Inhale. After finishing 5 rounds, keep your eyes closed, hands on your knees, palms facing up. Keep your body still and feel the benefits of these vibrations in your body. Because of these vibrations, all the dead cells are also getting activated. It goes right up to your brain. तो brain के भी जो dead cells हैं वो activate होते हैं. Increases your memory and brain power. कभी आपके headache हो रहा हो तो you can practice Brahmari pranayam. It will give you a relief from the headache. We'll chant Om and 3 Shantis to end this. Take a deep breath. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Join your hands, rub your hands, bring them to your eyes, bring the palms to your eyes and spread this energy all over your body from your head to your toes. Thank you everyone. I hope you all
Thank you so much नीतू जी. बहुत लोगों ने वीडियो ऑन किया Thank you so much. Somebody was even joined from the gym. He was doing practicing over there. Two people. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. And I hope others are will be ready for tomorrow and day
Thank
after
you.
tomorrow. The session will be like this only. First philosophy, then the practical part, and now we are going to learn little bit about the anatomy and physiology. So I'll talk about the neurophysiology of yoga. So let me share my PPT. May will just linger on 5 to 10 minutes more today. Somebody has to confirm that my PPT is visible.
Yes, ma'am. Visible.
Okay, that's great. So let us understand neurophysiology of yoga. Somebody has asked today, what is the difference between yoga and yogasana? So let me tell you, let me start with the 8 limbs of yoga. That is Yam, Niyam, Asana. So Yogasana, it has been collaborated. Yogasana is a third aspect of yoga, whereas yoga has 8 limbs. It is a full philosophy with all the 8 aspects. That is yoga. So tomorrow again, Acharya ji will tell you about further limbs of the yoga. So let me make you understand what is a neurophysiology of yoga. So today we have done Surya Namaskar as well as the breathing pranayama. Pranayama talk about according to the science, and let me tell you the modern science is yet has not tested the real science of yoga. People have correlated it with Hindu cult, Hinduism, and religion, religious thing. Let me tell you, yoga is an ancient science. This is all about the science which modern science is also accepting, but rather they are putting up so many researches. Still I find there are a little bit gap between the modern science and the ancient sciences. If we talk about the energy, so breathing exercises, breathing is called in yoga, that is pranayama. Prana. Pran is a flow of life. It's not only a flow of oxygen, it's a flow of life because everybody knows that life depends upon the oxygen. The inhalation, the first breath start when a child is born. And we are alive till we will breathe. The last breath, with the last breath, the human
कुछ बंदे हो गए
life ends. So that is why breathing and learning about the breathing pattern is very essential. So let us talk about the modern sciences when we talk about the ancient sciences. According to yoga, the breathing is a flow of energy. It brings the energy inside the body. We are made up of cell. Each and every cell requires oxygen to be in the survival mode. For the survival, every cell has to live healthy and happily. If we are in stress, if we are in depression, if we are in a negative environment right now, what is going on because of the COVID? That's a pandemic. We couldn't control and we can't help it out. So now the losses have been already done. बहुत लोगों को हम खो चुके हैं, बहुत सारा ग्रीवेंस है सभी के मन में, सोसाइटी में, फैमिली एंड फ्रेंड्स में बहुत सारी हैपनिंग्स हुई हैं, मिस हैपनिंग्स हुई हैं, and what not. So are our cells are happy right now? No, of course we are human. Human species is very emotional species. We are attached to each other. There is a group cohesion. There is a social cohesion. People whom we don't know, we didn't know about them. They were not our friends, but just watching the news, watching the very disheartening news, people are rushing pillar to post for the medicines, for the beds, for the oxygen cylinders. So the emotional happening was so much, and attachment and cohesion among the society was so huge that our cells are not happy. Yes, emotionally it is a setback. It will take time, बहुत समय लगेगा हमें emotionally अपने आप को happy feel कराने के लिए, but through breathing at least we can give ourselves all the health and happiness which is very essential and required for ourselves, for our survival, because immune system is all depend upon the health of the cell. If any cell deteriorates, the immune system, the defense system becomes weaker and weaker. So the modern science, according to them, the definition of energy is something different. But for the ancient science, the energy is the flow of life inside the body. And for that, yoga has adopted the breathing patterns, and there are different breathing techniques which you have recently in the last lecture you have learned. So I'll talk about the breathing. What is according to only the yoga? That is the prana is the base of our life. प्राण आधार है हमारे ह्यूमन सेल्स के, ह्यूमन स्पीशीज के और ह्यूमन सर्वाइवल. So for that, it is almost about the experience and the practice. Yoga is nothing about just watching each other or just elaborating and telling the benefits. Everyone will have the benefit, but the level of the benefit will be associated what an individual feels. Even you can taste the oxygen, taste the each breath of inhalation while you are inhalating through your lungs. That's why in meditation also we always say start focusing your breath. If consciously you will start checking out your inhalation pattern and exhalation pattern, you will start enjoying the taste of the breath. And that's our prana. That's our base. That's the flow of life, and that's the flow of energy. Just now in the session, you must have inhaled very deeply. When you were inhaling and you were concentrating on the path of your oxygen, which is going inside and filling up the lungs. So that was when you were breathed out. It was like you are breathed out your all stress, all negativity, any kind of anxiety. Anxiety is a byproduct of stress. Yes, everybody is in stress right now. But for the survival, for the health, for maintenance of our own cells and own self, it is very important we understand how our breath affects our body, mind, and soul. So this is the picture of a lung. Everybody knows about. We have two lungs and the bronchi. These are the bronchi, and they are further bifurcated in bronchus, and these are the pipes. Inhalation goes inside. When we inhale, the oxygen goes inside, entering these bronchi and bronchus, and then it goes ahead. This is about the inhale and exhalation, the airflow in and out. So when we inhale, the ribs moves up and the diaphragm flattens. So for inhalation, diaphragm goes down. So we need to pull it down. So we have more and more chamber for oxygen. Then we push a diaphragm up, the ribs moves down and in, and then air flows out. This is how we inhale and we exhale. The direction of the blood flow as oxygen goes From the bronchi, it goes to the alveolus. So alveolus, they supply, they inhale that oxygen and then they supply to the blood. Let me explain you, we have two types of respiration. One, external respiration, and one is internal respiration. External respiration is exchange of gases between the environment and the human organism. That is what we inhale oxygen, it goes inside to the lungs, it goes inside the bronchi and it goes to the alveolus. Exhalation, while we exhalate, then the carbon dioxide and other gases just releases by the body. This is one respiration, external respiration. But there is internal respiration also. The internal respiration is exchange of gases between the cells. So the alveolus, that is the type of cell. The alveolus releases the oxygen and gives to the blood. Blood rushes with the oxygen and with the nutrients, and it supplies to the other cells. Each cell, when receive the oxygen and nutrient, they give back the waste products and carbon dioxide. That again the exchange of gases here goes from the cell to the alveolus, and then alveolus releases the carbon dioxide through bronchus and through mouth. This is all about how our breath goes on. But what happens after this? What happens when every cell receives the oxygen? Our respiratory center, that is located inside the brain. So let me tell you, I have written a book which is bestseller on Amazon, Marshall the Mind. And why I have written it? Because I believe that everything is inside the mind. This is our control chamber. So if we will keep mind healthy, it will help our body to be healthy. Previously, we were taught about healthy body keeps healthy mind. But right now, we all are healthy, or we were healthy, but now the mind is disturbed. Do you think when we are listening all the news and noises and the bad news, when our mind is disturbed, anybody felt about the effect on their body? We are little bit in sorrow, our body is not feeling happy, we are also sometimes feel that something is happening with us. There were so many cases who have reported and tested, they have gone for the COVID test just because they were feeling that literally they were feeling all kind of a symptoms, and people were afraid, they were going for the testing things, that yes, maybe I'm suffering with COVID, which the tests were negative. They were not. But because from all the corners we are listening, all type of the infection and the, the deadly disease, the deadly infection. So anybody who's coming back to the home from the market, they are in illusion, they are in confusion. Whether we were in contact of someone, आरोग्य सेतु, हर कोई आके आरोग्य सेतु चेक करता था मेरे आसपास कितने लोग कोविड पॉजिटिव थे नहीं थे, and what happened. So our respiratory system, that is pons, medulla oblongata and the spinal cord, और उसके साथ ही हमारा inspiratory area and the expiratory area. So this is how the oxygen and carbon dioxide affect our mind. अगर हमारे माइंड में, मस्तिष्क में हमारे ऑक्सीजन बहुत कम पहुंचेगी, तो हम लोगों को डिजीनेस, एंजाइटी, स्वेटिंग होना, ये सारे सिम्टम्स शुरू हो जाते हैं, बिकॉज आवर ब्रेन रिलीजेस द सिग्नल टू बैलेंस the internal environment, the internal heat through our respiration. सो फिर हम लोगों की स्वेटिंग शुरू हो जाती है. सो इस तरीके से जो फिजियोलॉजी है हमारी बॉडीली फिजियोलॉजी अफेक्ट करती है हमारी न्यूरोफिजियोलॉजी. इफ द लैक ऑफ ऑक्सीजन, व्हाट हैपेंस? वी गो इनटू hypoxia. Hypoxia means the neurons, the cells present in the brain are called as neurons. So our neurons they are not getting proper, if they are not getting proper oxygen, they will go into the hypoxia, and slowly and gradually the cells will start dying. And any cell start dying, they make a group. They make a group, and group of cells will start dying. So other cells, they will help them out, and they will reach out to help them. So this is how the respiratory system affects our neurons and neurology. Human diaphragm. Let us understand again the diaphragm. Diaphragm, when it pulls down and pushes back, it supplies more and more oxygen to the cells. So both our pharynx nerves and our diaphragm both work together, whereas aorta, the heart, it also involves themselves. And let me tell you about the carotid sinus. These are the baroreceptors, and they are responsible for the balancing of our oxygen and carbon dioxide. Sometimes we yawn, हम लोग उबासी लेते हैं. उबासी आने का मतलब यही है कि बॉडी में ऑक्सीजन की कमी हो रही थी, और इसलिए हमारे लंग्स को हाइपोक्सिया फील होने लग जाता है, तो वो यॉर्निंग करते हैं, हम उबासी लेते हैं, एंड वी ट्राई टू इनहेल मोर एंड मोर ऑक्सीजन टू बैलेंस द carbon dioxide. So these baroreceptors, they help our body to understand the amount of oxygen and amount of carbon dioxide present inside the body, and then it helps to balance it. Let me come back to this stretching of lungs. बहुत हाहाकार मचा था ऑक्सीजन इनटेक पर, सबके घर में ऑक्सीमीटर पहुंच गया था, एवरीबडी वाज चेकिंग देयर ऑक्सीजन. सो दिस इज द स्ट्रेच for lungs, how we can expand our lungs. So during the Kapalbhati, when you were exhaling forcibly जब हम exhale करते हैं, तो उस समय हम स्टमक को बहुत यूज करते हैं, और स्टमक हमारे डायफ्राम को ज्यादा जोर से ऊपर की तरफ पुश करता है, एंड हम ज्यादा एक्सेल करते हैं और ज्यादा कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड बाहर निकाल पाते हैं. So with the normal inhaling, we were doing the a little forceful or a little faster exhalation, which was helping carbon dioxide to be removed from the body. But what happened in this stretch? So this is the stretch where the intercostal muscle and the lung cage, that is the lung cage, that expands. When it expands, the lungs also get more space to expand. Now, if we do it every day, so slowly and gradually, the lungs, the cells present in the lungs, they will expand, and they will gradually have more capacity to inhale more and to keep more oxygen inside. Now, let us take the example of the yogis or the sports person, from where they get so much of oxygen to perform so much during the bout, during the exercise, during the sports sessions, football session hai, hockey session hai, or the performance during the weightlifting, powerlifting performance, during the running, during the throwing, every kind of sports. From where these sports person get the more oxygen better than us. So that is because we call it lung capacity. So we call it a total lung capacity. So total lung capacity is your inhalation of oxygen, the amount of oxygen you can inhale, the amount of residual oxygen, that is, residual means reserve, the amount of residual oxygen that you can retain, you have that extra oxygen to support yourself. And then the exhalation, the more exhalation of carbon dioxide will give you more energy because you can inhale more oxygen. So this is the cycle, this is the beautiful cycle of breath on which our energy depends. So whenever you feel any kind of stress, physically or mentally, just take a break, only for 5 minutes, sit quietly, control your breathing, inhale, start deeply, and exhale. Go slow, no forceful inhalation and exhalation. But what happens exactly? The chamber of your brain, the frontal cortex, which is for the wisdom or the decision, that that becomes calm and cool. Your decisioning power will be enhanced. You will feel more relaxed and more calm. With these breaths, when you exhale, you can exhale your all stress and anxiety and worries. We get so much worried. और सबको पता है शायद कि जब हम किसी बात के लिए एंजाइटी में आ जाते हैं, चिंता में आ जाते हैं, तो वैसे ही काम खराब हो जाता है. So whenever you feel, if you are watching news, and these days news is also a noises on the nonsense sometimes. So when you are watching these type of news and you feel anxiety, you feel fear, you get into the worry, what is going to happen? You are worried about your future. Then sit calmly, inhale slowly, and then hold for a second and exhale. While exhaling, feel you are just pushing out all the worries and stress and the anxiety from your life. That is very important. So, the situation of hyperventilation, there was one research, very beautiful research for Kapal Bhati. Now, today Neetu was telling you all that inhale short, uh, don't take, don't try to take a deep breath. Just inhale and try to exhale forcefully. So when the carbon dioxide is exhaled, what happens? There is a time when your carbon dioxide level goes down and down. When the waste product and carbon dioxide is out from the cells, your cells feel blessed. They feel happy because their burden and baggage that has been released. So taking inhalation, taking more oxygen and exhaling more carbon dioxide, in other philosophical word, will help you out to inhale more energy and exhale more stress and depression and worries out. So let us keep all these worries out of our life and inhale. Concentrate on inhaling and exhaling. Have a cool and calm breathing so your muscles can relax. Not only your cells can relax, your neurons can also relax. Everybody must have seen the picture of the brain, the neurons, and we have billions of neuropaths. We have billions of electrical impulses. How you feel, all the five senses, how you hear, how you feel touch, how you feel cold, how you feel heat, how you feel anxiety. There are the hyper impulses traveling across. हमारे हजारों और लाखों billions and millions जो cells हैं, they communicate with each other. From one impulse, it passes to other and it reaches out either towards the brain or from the brain towards the body. So we call it the afferent and efferent nerves. So efferent, it goes from brain to body, and afferent, starting from the A, goes above to the brain. So these are the senses. I just want to quote one little example to make you aware about your about your own self, for the self management of your own life. Be aware. We call it conscious living. We call it conscious breathing. हम सब ने कभी ना कभी कर्म कुछ छुआ होगा. Do you know the speed of our impulses? The electrical impulses go so fast that here we touch the hot and there we just lift our hand. कभी ऐसा नहीं हुआ कि हाथ हमने बहुत आराम से और धीरे धीरे उठाया कि तब तक वो जल ही जाए. ओके फाइन. कभी ऐसा हुआ है कि हमारा लेफ्ट हाथ किसी गर्म चीज को टच किया लेकिन राइट हाथ हमने हटाया हो, हमने अपना राइट हैंड पुल किया हो? नो. So you can see the speed and accuracy of our neurons, speed and accuracy of our efferent nerves and afferent nerves, speed and accuracy of our each cell. What the action, whatever has to perform, इट इज सो एक्यूरेट। कभी ऐसा नहीं हुआ कि हमें गरम लेफ्ट हैंड में लगाओ लेकिन हटाकर हम अपना राइट हैंड बैठ गए। कभी ऐसा नहीं हुआ कि हमने अपने लेफ्ट हैंड से अगर कुछ गरम को छुआ है तो वो वही हाथ पड़ा रहे और हमें बड़ी देर बाद रियलाइज हो कि ये तो आधा जल गया है। वी आर सो सेंसिटिव। सो ये जो हमारे एनर्जी है, हमारे अंदर जो प्राण है, जो हमारे अंदर लाइफ का फ्लो है, यू हैव टू बी कॉन्शियस। You have to be conscious about your breathing। इसलिए ज़रूरी नहीं है आप अपने आप को कूल एंड काम करने के लिए, क्योंकि हमारे पास बीइंग अ योगी हम लोगों के पास बहुत बारी लोग आते हैं कि हमसे मेडिटेशन नहीं होता, वी कैन नॉट कॉन्सेंट्रेट। हमने आपको कहीं ध्यान लगाने के लिए किसी भजन में, किसी मूर्ति में हमने कहा ही नहीं। हमने सबसे पहले आपको फर्स्ट स्टेप ये दिया है कि आप अपनी सांसों की माला, श्वासों की डोर, बस इसको कंसंट्रेट रखिए, इसको थाम कर रखिए। इसके चैनल कैसा चलता है, इस एनर्जी की फ्लो को आप कंट्रोल करना सीखिए, and then everything will be all right. Now, let me tell you, pressing the abdomen. This is the inverted poses। हम विपरीत करनी आसना भी इसको बोलते हैं और इसमें हमने पिलो का सपोर्ट दिया हुआ है, इफ यू कैन सी। सो नीलिमा मैम हमसे पूछ रही थी अगर हमसे किसी से कुछ नहीं हो पा रहा है तो आप उसके लिए कुशंस यूज कर सकते हैं। इफ यू आर सफरिंग विद द बैक एक, स्पाइनल डिस्क प्रॉब्लम और एनी काइंड ऑफ pain, nerve problem, joint problem, bone problem, you can take always a support. There is always a improvisation of asanas। और नीतू ने बिल्कुल ठीक कोट किया कि टीवी पे बहुत डिफिकल्ट आसनास या बहुत नंबर ऑफ रेपिटेशंस बताए जा रहे हैं, लेकिन योग में सिर्फ आपको अपनी कैपेसिटी से रेगुलर प्रैक्टिस करनी है। It is not about the perfect practice, it is about the regular practice। Slowly and gradually। perfection कैसे आती है किसी भी चीज की? practice makes a man perfect। बट यहाँ पर मैं सभी को कहना चाहूंगी और आज का लेसन कंक्लूड करना चाहूंगी कि सभी लोग योग से क्यों दूर हो रहे हैं या हो जाते हैं या उनको स्टार्ट ही नहीं कर पाते हैं, क्योंकि उनको लगता है इतने डिफिकल्ट आसनास हम नहीं कर पाएंगे, जिसको मैं बोलती हूँ प्लीज डू नॉट मेक योग अ मंकी योगा। आप इसको योग मानिए, आप इसको मंकी योगा मत बनाइए कि जरूरी हम हर तरीके से अपने हाथ पांव को उलझा लेंगे उसी को योग कहते हैं। जी नहीं, योग के 8 लिम्ब में से आसन एक लिम्ब है और एक्सट्रीम आसनास और एडवांस आसनास और सुपर एडवांस आसना एक बात है। दैट इज अ वेरी माइन्यूट स्टेप। लेकिन अपने आप के लिए कॉन्शियस होना, अपनी ब्रीदिंग के बारे में अंडरस्टैंड करना, अपनी फिजियोलॉजी को समझना, उससे अपनी साइकोलॉजी को इम्प्रूव करना और उससे अपनी सोल, स्पिरिट, स्पिरिचुअलिटी को एनहांस करना, दैट इज अबाउट द योग। एंड स्पिरिचुअलिटी हियर doesn't mean following any religion। Spirituality is how pure your soul can be, how pure your thoughts can be, and how pure you can be a human। That's a philosophy of yoga। ऑक्सीजन का सिलेंडर 1 लाख रुपए में बेचना स्पिरिचुअलिटी नहीं है कि उसके बाद आप किसी भगवान जी के घर, किसी मंदिर, मस्जिद, गुरुद्वारे कहीं पर भी जाकर आप दान कराएं, क्योंकि आपने 5,000, 10,000, 15,000 का सिलेंडर से जो 1.5 लाख रुपए में बेचकर आपने 1.5 करोड़ रुपया इकट्ठा किया, तो उसमें से आपने क्या किया कि एक छोटा सा सोने का मुकुट बनाकर हमने चढ़ा दिया। सिंस ऐसे नहीं धुलते हैं। किसी भी रिलीजन में मैं नहीं समझती कि किसी के भी गॉड इस चीज से एग्री होंगे कि आपकी वजह से 50 लोग मर गए, लेकिन आपने मुझे खुश करने के लिए जो 50,000 का एक मुकुट चढ़ा दिया, तो मैं आपके सारे कर्मास, आपके सारे पाप माफ कर दूंगी। मुझे नहीं लगता अगर गॉड है तो भगवान जी ऐसे सोचते होंगे। योग में स्पिरिचुअलिटी होता है आत्मा। किसी ने नहीं देखा, लेकिन जो आपने किया वो आपकी अपनी अंतरात्मा ने देखा। सो योग हमें एक्सटर्नल से इंटरनल एनवायरनमेंट की तरफ ले जाता है। और जितना आप अच्छे सोच के साथ रहेंगे उतने आपके सेल्स हैप्पी रहेंगे। याद है बचपन में कभी हम कुछ झूठ बोलते थे तो हम डरते रहते थे माँ से, हम डरते थे टीचर्स से, हम उनसे छुपते थे, नजरें बचाते थे। इन सब में क्या होता है? स्ट्रेस आता है। स्ट्रेस क्या करेगा? कॉर्टिसोल हार्मोन सेक्रीट करेगा। उस हार्मोन का कोई तोड़ नहीं है। वंस इट इज सेक्रेटेड इन योर ब्लड स्ट्रीम, it is secreted, and body is not meant for the cortisol hormone. It is not meant to handle it. माइन्यूटली तो हम हैंडल कर सकते हैं हमारी बॉडी, लेकिन जब वो एकदम से सडन फ्लो में सेक्रीट हो जाता है तो बॉडी उसको हैंडल नहीं कर सकती। हमारा कोई भी सिस्टम उसको रखने को तैयार नहीं है। डू यू नो हाउ इट अफेक्ट्स ईच एंड एवरी ऑर्गन? बिकॉज वो कॉर्टिसोल स्ट्रेस हार्मोन हर जगह जाकर अपने छोटी छोटी पॉकेट्स में जाकर घुस कर रहना चाहता है, क्योंकि उसको कोई भी इनवाइट नहीं करता सिस्टम, बट हम इनवाइट करते हैं उसको खुद। और वो फिर ब्रेन फोल्ड्स के अंदर जाकर जब जमता है तो डिमेंशिया, अल्जाइमर, इतना स्ट्रेस लेने का जरूरत नहीं। सो बैक टू आवर ब्रीदिंग। कभी भी आप लोगों को स्ट्रेस, डिप्रेशन, कुछ भी वरीज हो, सो गो बैक टू द बेसिक्स। और हमारा बेसिक क्या है? प्राणा। और प्राणा का आधार क्या है? ऑक्सीजन। हमारा लाइफ, हमारी एनर्जी सब डिपेंड किस पे करती है? ऑक्सीजन पे। सो लेट्स गो बैक इन दिस पोजीशन। हमारे जितने भी इन्वर्टेड आसनास हैं ये हमारे एब्डोमेन को प्रेशर करते हैं। एब्डोमेन पे जब प्रेशर आता है तो हमारा डायफ्राम को और पुश मिलता है, जिससे और ज़्यादा कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड रिलीज होती है। सेकेंड, इसका सबसे बड़ा बेनिफिट होता है एंटी ग्रेविटी। हम सबको पता है, हम सब हर वक्त ग्रेविटी के अंडर इन्फ्लुएंस में हैं। एवरी टाइम द ग्रेविटी इज पुलिंग अस डाउन। सो हमारे हार्ट को बहुत काम करना पड़ता है टू पुश द फ्लो टुवर्ड्स द ब्रेन, क्योंकि ये एंटी ग्रेविटी है। व्हेन यू डू ऑल द इन्वर्टेड आसनास तो सबसे ज़्यादा ब्लिस, सबसे ज़्यादा हैप्पी हमारे न्यूरॉन्स होते हैं, बिकॉज दे आर गेटिंग मोर फ्लो ऑफ ऑक्सीजन। When they are getting more flow of oxygen, then the nutrients in the body also through the blood goes inside the brain. So that is the time when our body feel blessed. Let me tell you, sleep. किसी ने अभी पूछा था कि हमारी तो नाइट शिफ्ट होती है। इट इज नॉट अबाउट नाउ द नाइट एंड डे। अब आप लोग इंडिया में बैठे हैं, आपके यहाँ दिन हो रखा है, मेरे यहाँ, मैं लॉस एंजलिस में बैठी हूँ, मेरे पास इस वक्त रात के 9 बज रहे हैं। So it is not about the day and night. It is about your biological clock and your system and your routine. So when your time is for the sleep, according to whatever night shift, whatever shifts you are doing, you can do this asana. This will give you the good blood flow, and then it will relax your mind. Now let's talk about the sleep. सबने ये फ्रेज सुना होगा, बच्चों को सोने दो, बच्चे बढ़ते हैं, उनकी हाइट बढ़ती है जब वो सोते हैं। एक्चुअली हमारा पूरा ब्रेन रिजुविनेट हो रहा होता है व्हेन वी आर इन स्लीप। हमारी ऐसे ब्रेथ नहीं चलती है जैसे हम बात करते हैं उस टाइम पर हमारी ब्रेथ, या हम वैसे सारा दिन में जब ब्रेथ लेते हैं। एज सुन एज यू लाई डाउन, योर ब्रेथ स्टार्ट्स गोइंग स्लो। When we fall asleep, हमारी ब्रीथ और स्लो हो जाती है। इस स्लो सिस्टम के साथ हमारी कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड भी स्लो रिलीज होती है। लेकिन जब सोते समय कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड भी स्लो रिलीज होगी तो हमारे ब्लड वेसल्स पे प्रेशर बढ़ने लगता है, उससे हमारे चैम्बर्स और ज़्यादा खुलते हैं और हमारे जितने न्यूरॉन्स हैं उनका डोर ओपनिंग हो जाता है। दे गास्प फॉर द ऑक्सीजन, वो और ऑक्सीजन इनहेल करने लगते हैं। एंड स्लीप के टाइम पे, इसलिए जब हम उठते हैं तो हम फ्रेश होते हैं, हमें अच्छा लगता है और हम रिलैक्स होते हैं। इसलिए 8 आवर्स स्लीप पैटर्न इज वेरी मच रिकमेंडेड। उसके समय भी जो हमारा ब्रीथ स्लो होता है वो हमारे ब्रेन के हेल्थ के लिए, हैप्पीनेस के लिए, ज़्यादा ऑक्सीजन, ज़्यादा न्यूट्रिशन पहुंचाने के लिए बहुत असेंशियल है। Thank you for today. This is all what I wanted to discuss, although it's a very huge subject जो हम डिस्कस करते हैं अपने योगा कोर्सेज में। सो हमारे साथ इस
Thank you, ma'am.
वक्त सोनिया जी जुड़ी हुई हैं, जिन्होंने YTTC योगा अलायंस से हमारे साथ 200 आवर्स किया। हमारे साथ और बहुत सारे लोग जुड़े हुए हैं जो 500 आवर्स अब परस्यू कर रहे हैं। और कई बारी मेरे से क्वेश्चन पूछा जाता है कि योगा अलायंस USA के सर्टिफिकेट क्यों किया जाए, और इंडिया तो खुद इतने सारे सर्टिफिकेट्स कराता है या यूनिवर्सिटीज डिग्री देता है। द साइंस, बिकॉज वेस्टर्न वर्ल्ड ने जब इसको रिजेक्ट किया कि दिस इज नॉट, दिस इज हिंदुइज्म, और जब उनको पता लगा इसमें साइंस बहुत ज्यादा है और ये साइंस बेस्ड है, तो उन्होंने उसको अडॉप्ट करना शुरू किया। सो योगा अलायंस USA के कोर्सेज में एनाटॉमी, फिजियोलॉजी, रिसर्चेस, उस पर इतना ज़्यादा फोकस है, जहाँ पर इंडियन यूनिवर्सिटीज़ का जो करिकुलम है, इंडियन सर्टिफिकेशंस में फिलॉसफी पे ज़्यादा ध्यान दिया हुआ है। उनका कंटेंट 70% फिलॉसफी होता है। और यहाँ पर जो बेस है, थ्योरी का मैं बात कर रही हूँ, प्रैक्टिकल तो दोनों जगह सेम होगा। थ्योरी में यहाँ पर साइंस पे बहुत बेस है, और साइंस की वजह से ऐसा है कि इवन कोर्ट में भी, मैं अमेरिका की बात कर रही हूँ, कोर्ट में भी केसेस गए स्कूल से, इंस्टीट्यूशन से, कि हम योग को नहीं इंट्रोड्यूस करना चाहते बिकॉज इट्स अ हिंदुइज्म और इट्स अ कल्ट। वो लोग कोर्ट में भी केस हारे। और आप सबको पता होगा, ओबामा जो है वो खुद योग बहुत करते हैं, और यहाँ पर बहुत सारे लोग जो है वो योग करते हैं, बट दे वांट टू लर्न फ्रॉम इंडियन योगीज। बट व्हेन दे come to the Indian yogis, they talk always about the philosophy first. They want them to leave everything and then start yoga. Whereas through Yoga Alliance USA, we are preaching, we are convincing people, you just understand about the asanas, the impact of asanas on physiology, psychology and physical benefits. उसके बाद स्पिरिचुअलिज्म की अगर हम बात करते हैं, जब आपकी सोल को अच्छा लगे, जब आपकी सोल को अहिंसा समझ में आ जाए, जब आपकी सोल को नियम मानना समझ में आ जाए, तो वो हो जाएगा, अपने आप होगा। बट लेट देम कम टू द योग। अगर हम पहले ही कह देंगे चप्पल बाहर उतारो, कपड़े भी बाहर उतारो, आपने एक पर्टिकुलर टाइप के ही रंग के कपड़े पहनने, तभी आपको आप योगी बन सकते हैं, तभी आप योग में आ सकते हैं। आप आज से ही पहले सब कुछ खाना पीना अपना छोड़ दीजिए, बदल दीजिए, उसके बाद हम एडमिशन देंगे क्योंकि आप तभी योग में आ सकते हैं। अगर हम इस तरीके से डोर्स बंद रखेंगे, तो मेरे को बताने में बहुत दुख हो रहा है कि तमाम तरीके के योग इंट्रोड्यूस हुए चले जा रहे हैं दूसरी कंट्रीज में, बिकॉज आई एम वर्किंग इन मेनी कंट्रीज। और यहाँ तक कि जो हमारा लेवल ऑफ वाला टाइम मतलब पॉइंट था, वो ये था कि बियर योगा तक भी आ चुका है। गो टू द यूट्यूब चैनल वेयर द yoga trainer, I won't call them yogi, yoga trainer in London, in the gym, announcing sip a beer and then do the pose. You can watch it. So many professors and teachers are with me, and they have seen it when we have presented last year about this. So this is my humble request. There are so much scope of योग, लेकिन अगर हम सब अपने आप को महान मानकर अपनी कंट्री के अंदर बैठे रहेंगे, और दूसरों के आने के लिए अगर हमारे डोर इतनी स्ट्रिक्टली पाबंदियों के साथ बंद होंगे कि पहले ये छोड़िए वो छोड़िए, जो इसका रियल एसेंस है। द फिलॉसफी इज ऑल्सो वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, लेकिन पहले फिलॉसफी से हमें साइंटिफिक बेसिस पर आना पड़ेगा। कल हम जब मेंटल हेल्थ की बात करेंगे और मेंटल एस्पेक्ट्स की बात करेंगे, यू विल कम टू नो हाउ द पर्सन विल चेंज। इन आवर लास्ट योगा अलायंस USA के हमारे एक लास्ट बैच में दुबई से 16.5 साल की लड़की ने हमारे साथ योगा टीचर ट्रेनिंग कोर्स किया, जहां उसकी मदर का ये कहना था, आफ्टर ओनली 3 क्लासेस ऑफ बिकमिंग अ टीचर ट्रेनिंग, एनाटॉमी, फिजियोलॉजी, और सिर्फ 1 घंटा प्रैक्टिस करके ऑनलाइन, she has become a full-fledged teacher to work anywhere in the world. तीसरे दिन उनका मेरे पास फ़ोन आया उस क्लास के बाद कि इसकी दादी कह रही हैं इसमें तो बहुत चेंज आ गया, अभी तो 3 ही क्लासेस हुई हैं। शी हैज़ बिकम मोर कूल, काम, और अब जो वो बात कर रही है तो वो कुछ सोच कर समझ कर क्वेश्चन पूछ रही है। उसका एक बार एकदम मेंटल एनहांसमेंट हो गया है। तो अपनी मैडम को कहना कि इसको अपने साथ बिल्कुल वीडियो ऑन करा के इसको प्रैक्टिस करवाएं, so that she can also watch। और उन्होंने जब टेस्टिमोनियल भेजा मेरे को तो बहुत शीर्षासन तक उस लड़की ने परफॉर्म किया। दुबई की बहुत सारे न्यूज़पेपर्स में उसका यंगेस्ट टीचर ट्रेनर जो है उसको डिक्लेयर किया, और उसके लिए कोशिश भी की थी। हम लोगों ने गिनीज बुक ऑफ वर्ल्ड रिकॉर्ड और दूसरे वर्ल्ड रिकॉर्ड को अप्रोच करने की, बट बिकॉज ऑफ द लॉकडाउन वो पॉसिबल नहीं हो पाया। So that is the beauty of international, spreading योग internationally. So आप में से जो भी हम लोगों के साथ जुड़ना चाहें, they can contact us। मेरा फ़ोन नंबर सभी के पास है, although I'm in US, but WhatsApp कॉलिंग हो सकती है। और आगे चलने के लिए कल के लिए किसी ने पूछा था फीडबैक फॉर्म। हम लोग रोज़ फीडबैक फॉर्म नहीं देंगे, बट लास्ट डे जो फीडबैक फॉर्म दिया जाएगा वो सिर्फ एक फॉर्मेलिटी नहीं होगी कि आप सिर्फ अपने एसेंशियल्स इनिशियल्स दे दिए। आपको 5 क्वेश्चंस भी पूछे जाएंगे जो एनाटॉमी, फिजियोलॉजी, प्रैक्टिकल और फिलॉसफी किसी भी एस्पेक्ट से हो सकता है। सो बी रेडी फॉर दैट। वो सबमिशन प्रॉपर सही आंसर्स के साथ होगा, सर्टिफिकेट तभी इशू होगा, बिकॉज सर्टिफिकेट जो है वो योगा अलायंस का कंटिन्यू एजुकेशन प्रोवाइडिंग का है। थैंक यू सो मच फॉर टुडे। आई होप आप लोगों का समय जो इतना कीमती रहा उसमें कुछ ना कुछ ज्ञानवर्धक बातें आप लोग अपने साथ लेकर जा रहे होंगे। थैंक यू सो मच। नमस्ते फ्रॉम लॉस एंजलिस।